Good day, everyone. I am Ella.
And good day, everyone. I am James.
Hello everyone, I'm John Ray, and today we'll be talking about the Philippines.
You know when Mom Gemma announced that our assigned country was the Philippines?
Our first thought was, nice, easy lang.
I mean, we're Filipinos. We literally live here, so how hard could it be?
But when we started researching, that's when we realized there's actually so much happening in our country that we don't always notice.
Exactly. Because every day we wake up, we go to school, scroll through our social media, complain about the traffic, no, complain about the init, complain about the expensive food, about everything that is getting expensive because of inflation. Yes, that's the word, inflation. So tanang mga presyo ng taas, no? Affected tanan. Then, we move on to our lives. So, kaning mga aning butang nga mura na siya og normal na bitaw sa atua.
And because it's normal, sometimes we forgot to ask, why is it like this?
Why do Filipinos have such strong family values? Why do we have so many different languages? And how did those become part of our identity?
And why do people have so many opinions whenever politics is brought up? No, ngano kahaan, why do issues like corruption, political dynasties, and public trust are keep coming back? And how will this decision actually affects us?
And finally, why does almost everyone suddenly become an economist the moment grocery prices go up? Or every time someone says, Murag, nisaka na pud ang presyo.
Yeah, exactly. Now, those questions may seem unrelated, diba? But as we continue researching, we realize they all lead back to one thing. So they are all connected. The culture we grew up in shapes the values that we carry today. Those values influence the leaders we choose. And the decision made by those leaders eventually affect our economy and our everyday lives. So today, that's exactly what we'll be exploring. No, not just the Philippines, the country we live in, but the Philippines as a nation. So without further ado, let's begin.
Before I begin, let me answer my questions earlier. Why do Filipinos have such strong family values? Well, that's because this comes from our history, culture, and traditions. Long before colonization, families already lived and worked together to survive. During Spanish period, Catholic teaching further emphasized love, respect, unity, and caring for one another. Today, these values are shown through close family relationships, respect for elders using po and opo, helping relatives in times of need, and maintaining strong connections even when family members work abroad. Family remains the center of Filipino life and influences many of our decisions. And why do we have so many different languages? Well, the Philippines has more than 180 languages because our country is made up of over 7,641 islands. Mountains, seas, and distant separated communities, allowing each group to develop its own language and culture over time. Different ethnic groups also preserve their native languages. Later, Spanish, American, and other foreign influences added new words to our vocabulary. As a result, we have a rich variety of languages while still sharing Filipino and English as our official languages. These become part of our identity through generations of traditions and daily life. They reflect who we are as Filipinos, a people who values close family ties, respect diversity, and take pride in our unique culture. Okay, now let's talk about the religion in the Philippines. Did you know that the Philippines is one of the most religious countries in Asia? Well, according to the 2020 census released by the Philippine Statistic Authority, about 78.8% of Filipinos are Roman Catholic. But the country is also home to several religious minority groups. These are Islam, 6.4%, Iglesia ni Cristo, 2.6%, Seventh-day Adventist, 0.8%, Aglipay or Philippine Independent Church 0.8%, Iglesia Filipina Independiente 0.6%, Bible Baptist Church 0.5%, United Church of Christ in the Philippines 0.4%, Jehovah's Witnesses 0.4%, Church of Christ 0.4%.
That's right, January, no? Muslim Filipinos, actually, especially those living in the Bangsamoro region, observe the five pillars of Islam. This includes praying 5 times a day, fasting during Ramadan, giving charity called zakat, making a pilgrimage to Mecca if possible, and declaring faith in one God.
Meanwhile, many Christian minority groups focus on Bible study, worship services, missionary work, and helping the communities through outreach programs, and these practices strengthen family relationships and encourage people to serve others.
Religion doesn't only influence people's belief, but it also shapes Philippine art and architecture. For example, we have the country's famous Baroque churches that are built during Spanish period and still remain important historical landmarks up until today.
In Muslim communities, beautiful mosques such as the Sultan Haji Hassan al-Bolkiah Mosque and the Grand Mosque of Marawi showcase Islamic architecture with large domes, colorful geometric designs, and Arabic calligraphy.
Religion also inspires Filipino music, paintings, dances, and wood carvings. Indigenous communities create traditional crafts that represent their spiritual beliefs and respect for nature.
One thing Filipinos are famous for is celebrating colorful festivals.
Some examples that we have are Sinulog Festival in Cebu, Atiatihan Festival in Aklan, Marianes Festival in Marinduque, Ramadan and Eid celebrations among Muslim Filipinos.
Religion is also reflected in Filipino customs like attending Sunday Mass, family prayers, baptisms, weddings, and honoring elders through pagmamano. Traditional clothing also shows cultural identity. Muslim women may wear the hijab, while Filipinos proudly wear the barong Tagalog and barot saya during religious and national celebrations.
Now, let's move on to politics. When we talk about Philippine politics, what comes into your mind today? Given the situation that we have right now in our country. 'Di ba? Mura siya og circus, kuwang na lang naay mo tumbling sa tubangan. But kidding aside, we are actually a democratic republic where the power that we have are divided into three branches. The first one here is we got the legislative, Kongreso. So, man sila ang tigbuhat og balaod, no? They are the one that will do the draft, mag-debate, or mag-pass the bills. Pero, dili ra na. Sila po ang tig-approve sa national budget. So, kung magunahuna ka, asar man to padung akong buhis. So, ang Kongreso mo'y panguntana kay sila mo'y tig-allocate ana. Second one is the executive. So, presidente o gabinete. Sila ang tigpatuman sa balaod. Sila ang mag-implement sa policy, mag-manage sa ahensya sa gobyerno, o mag-execute sa budget nga gi-approve sa Kongreso. The third one is judicial or Korte Suprema. So, mani sila ang tig-interpret sa balaod. Sila ang mag-decide kung constitutional ba ang usa ka batas o aksyon sa gobyerno. Let's talk about the political system on the Philippines that we have on paper versus the reality. On the paper, the Philippines is a presidential unitary republic. Power is divided among three branches: legislative, which makes laws; executive, which enforces them; and judicial, which interprets them. Checks and balances are written into the Constitution. In reality, that separation of powers exists, but it's porous. When President and Congress are aligned, the checks and balances largely become procedural. The judiciary is independent in structure, but since the President appoints justices, that independence is tempered in practice. Next, political parties are weak and fluid. They lack clear ideology or platforms, functioning mainly as election vehicles. Politicians frequently switch parties, so voters often choose based on name recognition rather than policy. Next, we got local government. It's decentralized under the Local Government Code of 1991, but remains financially dependent on the national government. This creates a system where local projects often depend on political alignment with the center.
As of 2026, the country's president is Ferdinand Bongbong Marcos Jr. His administration continues to address several important issues, including inflation, food security, disaster preparedness, education, healthcare, and the West Philippine Sea dispute. Now, I don't know if tinuod ba yun na tanan.
Government decisions affect our daily lives, from education and employment to taxes, transportation, healthcare, and public safety.
Despite many challenges, the Philippine economy continues to grow. The government is investing in the Build Better, More Infrastructure program, new roads, bridges, airports and railways, digital government services, renewable energy, tourism development, and lastly, agricultural modernization.
This project creates jobs, improve transportation, attract investors, and increase business opportunities for Filipinos.
Now let's talk about their temporary challenges. First is the socio-cultural challenge. One major challenge is learning poverty. The pandemic caused learning losses. Many schools lack classrooms and teachers, and some students still have limited access to technology. The Department of Education is responding through the Matatag agenda, curriculum improvements, teacher training, and learning recovery programs.
On political challenge, we have the West Philippine Sea dispute. Because of overlapping territorial claims, many Filipino fishermen have difficulty accessing traditional fishing areas. To address this, the Philippine government continues diplomatic negotiations, strengthens national defense, and works with international partners while upholding international law.
In inflation is another concern. Higher fuel prices, supply shortages, natural disasters, and rising transportation costs have increased food prices. To help, the government supports farmers, monitors prices, provides financial assistance to low income families, and implements livelihood and employment programs like the NGOs. NGOs also contribute through disaster relief, food assistance, and community livelihood projects.
So today, we've learned that religion plays a significant role in shaping the Philippines' culture, traditions, and identity.
Although the Philippines continues to face sociocultural, political, and economic issues, cooperation among the government, private organizations, and citizens can help build a stronger and more prosperous nation.
Thank you for listening. We hope you enjoy and learn something new about the Philippines. Have a great day!